The text message arrived during my father's funeral service. While the pastor droned on about eternal rest, my phone buzzed with Jessica's words. "Stop being dramatic, he was old. I'm going clubbing and coming home late." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I stared at the screen, rain pattering against the chapel windows. My father lay in his casket 10 feet away, and my wife couldn't spare one evening of respect. I typed back, "Enjoy." That was the moment I stopped caring about saving our marriage. Back at our townhouse, I sat among boxes of my father's belongings, nursing a beer in the dim light of our cluttered basement. The house felt hollow without Jessica's constant chatter about clients and Instagram followers. For once, the silence was welcome. I was sorting through Dad's old insurance papers when I heard Jessica's phone buzzing upstairs. She'd left it charging in the kitchen, unusual for someone who treated her phone like a vital organ. The screen lit up with notifications. "Can't wait for tonight, baby. Suite 412 at the Marriott, C." My blood went cold. I scrolled through more messages, my hands shaking with rage. Weeks of flirty exchanges with someone named Corey, photos of expensive dinners, plans for romantic getaways, while I worked overtime to pay our mortgage. The front door slammed. "Ethan, why are all the lights off?" Jessica's voice carried that fake sweetness she used when she felt guilty. I climbed the basement stairs slowly, her phone in my hand. She stood in the hallway, dress wrinkled, makeup smeared, reeking of cologne that wasn't mine. "Forget something." I held up her phone. Her face went white. "Ethan, I can explain." "Don't." I set the phone on the counter. "Just don't." She lunged for it, but I stepped back. "How long?" "It's not what you think." "How long, Jessica?" Her shoulders sagged. 3 months. 3 months. While I grieved my father's declining health, she was planning her exit strategy. While I worked 60-hour weeks to afford her lifestyle, she was shopping for an upgrade. "Pack your things," I said quietly. "You can't just throw me out. This is my house too." I laughed, a bitter sound that surprised us both. "Actually, it's not. Check the deed. Dad helped me buy this place before we got married. Your name was never added." That night, I changed the locks. By morning, divorce papers sat on her pillow in the master bedroom, the bedroom I'd moved out of months ago when her headaches became a nightly excuse. Mrs. Cutler, our elderly neighbor, knocked around noon. "Saw Jessica loading suitcases," she said, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Also saw that man leaving here last Tuesday. Flashy car, loud voice. Not the first time, dear." Even the neighbors knew. I was the last to figure out my own life was a lie. My buddy Mason called that evening. We'd worked together at Hartwell Insurance for 5 years, and he was the closest thing I had to a best friend. "Heard Jessica moved out," he said. "You okay?" "Better than okay. Found out she's been cheating." "Jesus, with who?" "Some guy named Corey. Drives a flashy car, apparently." Mason was quiet for a moment. "Corey Drummond? Works at Premier Auto downtown?" "You know him?" "Know of him. Guy's a sleaze. Sells overpriced cars to desperate people. Brags about his conquests at Murphy's Bar. If Jessica thinks she's his only side piece, she's deluding herself." That gave me an idea. "Want to do some reconnaissance?" The next evening, Mason and I sat in a corner booth at Murphy's Bar, nursing beers and watching Corey hold court near the pool table. He was exactly what I'd expected. Mid-30s, spray tan, gold chain visible under his unbuttoned shirt. He regaled his audience with stories about his latest conquests, while buying rounds with money that probably came from marking up junker cars. "So this real estate chick I'm seeing," Corey said, loud enough for half the bar to hear. "She's married to some insurance nobody. Guy has no idea I'm upgrading his wife's situation." His friends laughed. I gripped my beer bottle so hard my knuckles went white. Mason leaned over. Easy, man. Let him dig his own grave. Corey continued. She's already talking about leaving him. Says he's boring, makes decent money, but no ambition. Me? I'm showing her what it's like to date a real man. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Best part is, Corey went on, she's been using his credit cards to buy lingerie for our dates. Guy's paying for his own cuckolding. That was news to me. I made a mental note to check our credit card statements. We left before Corey noticed us, but I had what I needed. Mason dropped me at my empty house where I spent the night going through financial records. Sure enough, hundreds of dollars in charges at Victoria's Secret, expensive restaurants I'd never been to, and hotel bookings I hadn't made. Jessica had been stealing from me to fund her affair. I started small. Jessica had always been obsessed with her image, constantly posting on social media about her amazing life and perfect relationship. Her real estate career depended on projecting success and trustworthiness. So I began planting seeds of doubt. Mrs. Cutler, it turned out, was a font of neighborhood gossip. She'd seen Corey's car in our driveway multiple times, knew which days Jessica left early and came home late, and had even witnessed Jessica and Corey arguing in his car outside our house. She's not very discreet, Mrs. Cutler said over coffee. That young man has quite the temper. Saw him grab her arm pretty roughly last week. I filed that information away and made some calls. Jessica's best friend Nadia was an aspiring influencer who loved drama more than loyalty. I'd always found her vapid, but now her loose lips would be useful. I called her, putting on my best concerned husband act. Nadia, I'm worried about Jessica. She's been acting strange lately, staying out late, secretive about work. Is she okay? Oh, Ethan, she's fine. Better than fine, actually. She's been seeing... Nadia caught herself. I mean, she's just been working really hard. Working hard with that car salesman? Silence. I know about Corey, I said gently. I just want to make sure she's safe. Some of the things I've heard about him... What things? Well, I probably shouldn't say, but Mason knows someone who bought a car from him, and apparently Corey has a reputation for being aggressive with women. Multiple women. It wasn't entirely true, but it wasn't entirely false either. I'd done my research on Corey Drummond. He had a history of bouncing between dealerships, complaints filed against him for high-pressure sales tactics, and yes, at least one restraining order from an ex-girlfriend. Multiple women? Nadia's voice got that hungry quality it took on when she smelled gossip. I'm probably wrong, I said quickly. Just promise me you'll look out for Jessica. She's not thinking clearly right now. I hung up, knowing Nadia would plant those seeds of doubt within hours. Sure enough, Jessica called me that night, furious. How dare you spread lies about Corey to my friends? What lies? I expressed concern about your safety. Turns out your boyfriend has quite the reputation. You're just jealous because he treats me better than you ever did. Does he? Because from what I hear, you're not his only girlfriend. The line went quiet. That's not true. Isn't it? Ask him about the blonde he was with at the Marriott last Thursday. Different suite, same hotel. I was bluffing, but Jessica's sharp intake of breath told me I'd hit close to home. You're lying. Am I? Or are you just realizing you're not as special as you thought? She hung up, but I knew the seed was planted. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched Jessica's perfect new life begin to unravel. Her social media posts became less frequent and more desperate. Photos of expensive gifts from Corey with captions like, "When you're truly loved," and "Some people know how to treat a woman right." But the comments section told a different story. Word was spreading about her affair, and her client base was starting to notice. Real estate was a relationship business, and Jessica's reputation for trustworthiness was crumbling. Meanwhile, I'd been busy. I anonymously sent photos of Corey with other women to Jessica's work email. I called the dealership where Corey worked and reported him for harassment, using details from his ex-girlfriend's restraining order, which was public record. I even reached out to some of his previous customers who'd left bad reviews, encouraging them to file complaints with the Better Business Bureau. But the real masterstroke came from an unexpected source. Paul Martinez had dated Jessica before me, and apparently he'd stayed in touch with her over the years. What I didn't know was that Paul had recently gone into business with Corey, selling used cars on the side, and Paul, it turned out, had never quite gotten over Jessica. He called me out of the blue on a Thursday evening. "Ethan, it's Paul Martinez, Jessica's, well, you know. What can I do for you, Paul? I think we should talk about Jessica and Corey." We met at a diner downtown. Paul was older now, graying at the temples, but still carried himself with the cocky attitude that had probably attracted Jessica in the first place. "Corey's been bragging about stealing your wife," Paul said without preamble. "Guy's a complete ass. Why do you care?" Paul stirred his coffee, not meeting my eyes. "Let's just say I don't like seeing Jessica get played." "Played how?" "Corey's got 3 women on the hook right now. Jessica's just the one with the most money." Paul slid a folder across the table. "Bank statements, hotel receipts, photos. Guy's been using Jessica's credit cards to wine and dine his other girlfriends." I flipped through the documents, my anger building. Not only had Jessica been cheating on me, but her boyfriend was cheating on her, with her money. "Why are you giving me this?" Paul finally looked up. "Because she deserves better than Corey Drummond, and because he owes me 12 grand from a car deal gone bad. What do you want me to do with this?" "Whatever you think is right," Paul said, standing up. "Just make sure Jessica sees it first." I printed everything and put it in a manila envelope with Jessica's name on it. Instead of mailing it, I decided to deliver it personally. Jessica was living in a downtown apartment now, one of those trendy lofts that cost twice what our mortgage had been. I waited in the lobby until another resident let me in, then took the elevator to the 8th floor. She answered the door in a silk robe, her face flushed. "Ethan? What are you doing here?" "Brought you something." I held out the envelope. She took it suspiciously. "What is it?" "Information about your boyfriend. Thought you should know what kind of man you left me for." Jessica tore open the envelope and began reading. I watched her face change from confusion to disbelief to rage. This can't be real. Bank statements don't lie, neither do photos. She sank into a chair, the papers scattered around her. "He said I was special. He said he loved me." "He loves your credit cards. Check your statements lately?" Jessica grabbed her laptop and logged into her bank account. I watched her face pale as she scrolled through the charges. 1,500 at Morton's Steakhouse. I've never been there. 800 at Nordstrom. I didn't buy anything. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "He's been using my cards for other women." "Looks like it." "Oh God, what have I done?" She buried her face in her hands. "I threw away our marriage for this?" For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "You threw away our marriage because you're selfish and shallow," I said quietly. "Corey's just a symptom." "Ethan, please. Can we try again? I made a mistake." "No." I stood up. "We can't. But you should probably cancel those credit cards before he maxes them out." I left her sobbing in her expensive apartment and felt absolutely nothing. The confrontation I'd been waiting for came a week later. I was leaving work when Corey Drummond stepped out from behind a parked car. He looked different, desperate, unshaven, his usual cocky demeanor replaced by barely controlled rage. "You son of a bitch," he snarled. "You ruined everything." "Did I? Or did you do that yourself?" "Jessica won't even talk to me now. Says I'm a liar and a thief." "Aren't you?" Corey stepped closer, his hands clenched into fists. "You think you're so smart, don't you? Playing your little games, spreading your lies." "They weren't lies, Corey. Everything Jessica saw was true. You destroyed my business. Those complaints you filed, the reviews you posted. I didn't post any reviews, but I'm guessing your customers had plenty to say once they started comparing notes. That was the beauty of my plan. I hadn't actually done anything illegal. I'd simply connected people who had legitimate grievances against Corey and let them handle the rest. The Better Business Bureau complaints, the negative reviews, the investigation by his dealership, all of it was based on real misconduct. "You're going to fix this," Corey said, grabbing my shirt. "You're going to call Jessica and tell her you made it all up." I looked down at his hand on my shirt, then back at his face. "No, I'm not." "Then I'll make you." He drew back his fist, and I prepared to defend myself. But before he could swing, a police car pulled into the parking lot. The officer got out slowly, his hand resting on his belt. "Everything okay here?" Corey released my shirt and stepped back. "Just talking." The officer looked between us. "Mr. Rowe? You called about harassment?" I had indeed called the police, about 10 minutes before leaving work. I'd seen Corey's car in the parking lot and figured he wasn't there to buy insurance. "This man has been following me, threatening me over a personal matter," I said calmly. "I have it documented." I pulled out my phone and showed the officer the voicemails Corey had left, the threatening texts, even a photo of him waiting by my car yesterday. "Mr. Drummond," the officer said, "I'm going to need you to come with me." As they led Corey away, he shouted over his shoulder, "This isn't over." But it was. 6 months later, I ran into Jessica at the grocery store. She looked tired, older somehow. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by simple jeans and a sweater. "Ethan," she said quietly, "how are you?" "Good. You?" "Getting by. I'm working at a different agency now, smaller commissions, but honest work." We stood there awkwardly for a moment. "I heard about Corey," she said finally. "The arrest, losing his job. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." Jessica winced. "I deserve that." "Yes, you did. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. About everything. About your father's funeral, about the affair, about the money. I was selfish and cruel, and I hurt the one person who actually cared about me." I studied her face, looking for signs of manipulation, but saw only genuine regret. "Apology noted," I said. "Is there any chance?" "No." I pushed my cart past her. "There isn't." I left her standing in the cereal aisle and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. Some people call it revenge. I call it balance restored. Jessica got exactly what she deserved, a taste of her own medicine, served cold and with interest. She learned that actions have consequences, that betrayal comes with a price, and that sometimes the quiet guy in the corner is the one you should fear most. As for Corey, last I heard he was selling insurance in another state, probably looking for his next mark. Good luck to him. He'll need it. Me? I kept the house, rebuilt my credit, and started dating a woman who appreciates honesty and loyalty. Life is good when you surround yourself with people who share your values. No sympathy for the devil, especially when she used to be your wife.